Welcome. Tick season here. What's going on with this? Yeah, I don't know. Backlight ain't working too well on this phone. Can't see shit. Oh. There's also a possibility that yeah, that's probably part of it. Let's see. Oh boy, that's not going to be good. They had some gooey on the lens on the, I guess they call it the front. Let's see how that came out. See if that made any difference. Let's see. Yeah, it's going to be clear. Clear enough, I guess. Yeah, we got some clovers coming in. Yeah, those are the pink clover. They have the pink clover flowers. Looking forward to that. Boy, something the bugs are already eating up. Springtime is finally here. One of my favorite seasons of the year. No, I forgot my coffee. Oh dear me, I gotta go back. I'll be back. Maybe I should take it with me. Nobody's in here anyway. But I hate for somebody to come in while I walked away from the phone and then they leave and they could have gotten some life-saving information. You never know. Could be somebody that's looking at taking GLP-1. Let's see, how am I going to do this? How about if I just... Oh, yeah, there we go. Alright, welcome. I'm going to turn it right back on in a minute here. I just forgot my coffee and I wanted to grab my coffee. That's all. I'll go grab me my coffee. I figure if I go through the work of grinding up the beans and making a fresh pot of coffee from freshly roasted beans to order, then might as well grab it and drink it. That's just how I look at things sometimes. Oh, what do I got going on here? I got to situate myself. See who's around. It says there's 8 people. My other channel, I just got shadow banned on. YouTube done deleted me because I talked about the Artemis 2. Don't talk about the Artemis 2. They'll get rid of you. They're right in your front of your face with all their deception anyway. I mean, not only was it April Fool's Day, but it was the first full moon after the spring equinox, which is called the pink moon. And those two alone don't line up on April 1st very often. And then it's even rarer that 6 or 5 days later, you're going to end up on the fertility goddess's day. Interesting though, you know, Easter, that's not the, Easter is not the day that Jesus Christ rose from the dead. Easter is the day that they always celebrated Ashtaroth, and she had different names in different cultures. Easter is one of her names from either the Rome, I think it was a Roman culture. They sacrificed bunnies and dipped the eggs in the blood, and that's where we get the colored eggs from. All about fertility. They were trusting Easter to give them fertility. The Skull and Bones is the name of one of the secret societies that the Luciferians of this world are involved in, and one of their holy numbers is 322. And wouldn't you know it, the phallus that they just shot up into the air on uh, April Fool's Day was 322 feet tall, reportedly. Reportedly. And they're going to send that phallus up and it's going to land in a lunar orbit, reportedly, allegedly, on Ishtar Sunday. She had different names. One of her names was Isis, it was Semiramis, it was Minerva. The Catholics called her Mary, and they tried to make it look like it was the other Mary. Good morning. Welcome. Welcome in. I'm just enjoying this spring day. Don't have all the greenery on the leaves yet, but I got greenery coming up all over the ground. It's pretty cool. I'm in northwest Indiana here. It's a beautiful day. It's barely in the 60s Fahrenheit. I think that what's that say? Grand phase? Good, good morning, grand phase. I don't know what grand phase is, but that TA symbol, I don't know if you can see it or not, but when you type, the only thing that showed up was this TA symbol and then your word, good morning, grand phase. That doesn't mean anything, but I'm guessing it says good morning, grand something. Who knows? But I am not a grandpa, just in case it's something about grandpa. And I'm very thankful that I'm not a grandpa. I have two sons, and they have never been defiled by a woman, and I hope that they never will be. Boy, there's something you don't hear churches talking about. Pastors and preachers and evangelists about being defiled by a woman. Let me tell you something. Here in the United States of America, in the Western world, the defiling is even worse than other places. I might keep this up, I might not, I'm not sure. But one of the things I really did want to point out, I was in a live stream earlier, and man, this lady was talking about taking GLP-1, and I was trying to help her. I mentioned to her that, I asked her if she had heard that you can produce GLP-1 naturally without any side effects and all that. And she says, you can't produce it naturally. And I was like, oh boy, one of those people. I said, yes, you can. Look it up. And immediately she started cussing and calling me names. And I'm like, okay, get out of there. I just left. But it's like, people really do. They refuse knowledge. But that was one of the things I wanted to share with people. This is United States of America, I guess they call it. Indiana is the state I'm in. I call it the USSA because, we're a fascist country. No man is more hopelessly enslaved than he that falsely believes that he's free. But GLP-1 is a hormone that people are getting synthetic version, which has to be injected into the stomach, which helps to metabolize food and lower blood sugar and kind of manage how your body processes sugars for diabetes is what it was created for. And then they found out it was actually satiating people's appetites, and they started losing weight dramatically, and it's being pushed for weight loss, which is interesting, but there's a lot of side effects to it that's really bad. I'm in Indiana, northwest Indiana. That's enough. That's more than most people say. Some people won't even say what state they're in. It's like, come on, really? I'm not far from Chicago. I'm not far enough from Chicago. And the T is not silent in Chicago. So the side effects of the synthetic GLP-1 are stomach paralysis, irreversible stomach paralysis, and I can't think of how to say this without YouTube's algorithm saying, "Oh, you can't say that." Um, Thoughts of people not wanting to be a part of the land of the living anymore. You know, those are common side effects of synthetic GLP-1, among other things. But you can produce your own GLP-1. In fact, ooh, let me see if I have. Nope, I don't have it on there. I'm going to turn that green screen off. I screenshotted it on the other one. A friend of mine wanted me to look into that because his wife was overweight and she was thinking about getting GLP-1 because she saw these great results. People are losing like 100 pounds in just 6 to 8 weeks. And it's like, how do you lose that much weight? Well, you can do it naturally. GLP-1 actually satiates your appetite. But let's see if I can find it without too much trouble. Here it is. Rigorous exercise before eating. 12 to 15 minutes of fast walking or jogging, something that gets your heart rate up before eating. Uh, it stimulates the increase of the GLP-1 production in your gut. Another thing that you can do is to chew your food between 30 and 40 times. And that actually stimulates GLP-1 production in your gut. And this is ultimately what the people that want to take GLP-1 want, but they shouldn't want the synthetics because the synthetics are toxic. But the ones that they produce naturally are good for their bodies with no side effects other than losing weight and balancing your blood sugars. And of course, there's other things that you can do as far as like supplementation. You can eat leaner meats, poultry, fish, eggs, yogurt, tofu, and that's another thing. Make sure you got a pretty good microbiome in your system. Get some apple cider vinegar, some yogurt, some sauerkraut, different things that are going to enhance the microbiome, your gut bacteria diversity and population. All that stuff is key to health. That sounds weird. This isn't an AMSR. My coffee mug's making sounds. Anyway, decided to let my beard grow out. I haven't grown it out this long ever in my life, and I just started to recently. So yeah, that'd be helpful for somebody that's wanting to lose weight or balance their blood sugar and kind of manage any kind of diabetes problems that they might have. Is just change a little bit of their diet intake, chew their food 30 to 40 times, get a little exercise before you eat. If you do all of that, you'll probably lose a ton of weight in a very short amount of time. And 12 to 15 minutes of exercise before a meal is not much at all. But people want the easy. They want it easy. Hey, welcome. What's going on, my friend? Much love. Looks like the same weather there is here. Yeah, well, we're kind of in the similar climate here, buddy. We're only like 4 hours away. But I'm not going to give away any more information than that. Yeah, I was just talking about GLP-1 and how people are going through some serious side effects from that thing. And I was in a live stream earlier, just the lady was talking about taking it, and I wanted to share with her how you can stimulate the production of GLP-1 naturally without any side effects. And she just immediately got triggered. She's like, "You can't do that naturally, blah, 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 blah." And I'm like, "Yeah, you can. Look it up." And she started cussing at me. I'm like, "Okay, whatever, you know." People reject, but I thought, that's something that the doctors aren't trained in. They're not taught about. They can look it up too. The doctors can look it up and find out it's true. Chaga. Chaga works for stimulating GLP-1. I hadn't known that. That's interesting. Dude, we got tons of chaga around here. I live in a river valley, and we got black birch, or it's also called river birch, that has chaga all over it. I harvested some a couple of winters ago, and it's more chaga than I think I'll use. It doesn't take much chaga to get some good tea out of, and I drink chaga a lot in the wintertime. It's full of melanin. It has more antioxidants than anything found in nature. It's got like 80% of the antioxidants that our bodies will take. It's amazing stuff. Yeah, chaga has a lot of good effects. It's got fungal beta glucans, which actually modulate the immune system. So if you've got a hyperimmune system, it brings it down to a lower balance. If you got a hypo, where it's low, it brings it up. It just modulates it. And it's got betulinic acid in it, and only if it grows on birch, because birch is a betulina is the name of the tree. And betulinic acid actually targets and kills the big C cells. And you can't really say a whole lot, otherwise it's medical misinformation, and they shut you down on this stuff. I mean, I'm already kind of shut down because I started talking about GLP-1. It's like they took me right out of the mainstream. My other channel, Under Duress, got completely shadow banned again, just because of the 322-foot phallus they just launched into the air, claiming that it's going to go circle around the moon. And it's interesting. I should have called you about that, because it was like, it wasn't even on my radar until the day before, the day of. And then I'm like, no kidding. Not only are they doing it on April Fool's Day, but they're doing it on the first full moon after the spring equinox, which is a huge occult deal. And they're scheduling the landing, or not the landing, but the reaching of the moon for the high holy day of the fertility goddess. They got the phallic symbol going up in, 322 is one of the numbers of the skull and bones. They got it going up to the moon, and it's going to land on the day that, the fertility goddess shows up, right? Or whatever. And it's like, come on, you really couldn't make this stuff up. And the interesting thing is, it's the full moon, the first full moon after the spring equinox, only shows up on April Fool's Day once every 19 years. And even more rare, which is probably I don't know how many years it is, maybe 100 and some years, that they would be able to correlate that with Easter Sunday for the distance, whatever they claim that they can make it to the moon with. Edible trees. Thought it was a rumor, but there are legit trees that you can eat if you had to, at least. Yeah. In fact, who was that? Yul Brynner used to say, have you ever eaten a pine tree? There's a lot of really good stuff in pine trees, but because of the turpentines or terpenes or whatever. They're the oil base. It's like, I'm not really sure you ain't gonna get it to taste good. I've had pine needle tea, which is really high in vitamin C. I think I prefer rose hips as a really good source of vitamin C. But I like to filter my water through coffee beans. Freshly roasted coffee beans. It's a really good way to filter your water. The moon thing had me laughing so hard. Pine needle soda. Yeah, pine needle soda where they ferment it. That's something I haven't done yet, but I've seen people talk about it. It's like, yeah, and I've heard people say it tastes like, maybe 7 Up or ginger ale or something like that, like a soft drink. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. Yeah, there's so many things about that moon thing. It's like, come on, really? Like, you really couldn't make it up except they did. Oh, and that really does show me that there's something going on here soon. There's something going on soon, man. They're just really pulling out all the stops, and this had to have been planned for a very long time. And and that's another thing too. One more thing that I found interesting was, and this particular Easter happens to fall on the actual Resurrection Day, which is the first Sunday after the first day of the week after the Feast of Unleavened Bread. And they very rarely correlate. The actual first day of the week after the Feast of Unleavened Bread very rarely correlates with the worship of the goddess at Easter, Ashtaroth, because God's calendar is set up on a 28-day calendar, 12 months a year, and then every 7th year it has an extra month. I think that's what it is, maybe every 3rd year. But there's that extra month that's added. And the Gregorian calendar, Easter always falls on the first sun god worship day after the first full moon, which we just saw, after the spring equinox. And to have all those things line up at the same time, I mean, they're working on something, dude. They're working on something. This is one of my quotes, and you're welcome to take it. I think it's pretty clever, but it's true, especially when you're dealing with antagonists that claim to be atheists. As I tell them, atheist is the religion for the masses. Luciferianism is the religion of the ruling class, and they show that. It's not really hiding in plain sight, because they're not hiding it. They're literally showing you in plain sight. And this whole thing with the synagogue of Satan, and people are like, oh, it's God's chosen people. Yeah, it is. The God of this world has chosen that people. Yes, yes. Oh, thanks. Yeah, it's the longest I've ever grown a beard. I've almost always through my life had my face shaved except for a little patch of hair down here. He that committeth sin is of the devil, for the devil sinneth from the beginning. For this purpose the Son of God was manifested, that he might destroy the works of the devil. Amen. I have a beard to cover my ugly. Yeah, that's kind of one of the reasons I grew it. I'm getting older. I got to cover my ugly now. Nameless to all. Cool. I'll tell you what, you come in here quoting scripture, the words of God, you already got a little affection coming from me. A little. Actually, a lot, because I love God's words. And it wasn't the perverted new Bibles, I don't think. It looks like it's the King James. Stay away from those new Bibles. They are Satan's Bibles. They're Satan's imposter Bibles. They don't say the same thing, and they don't say the same thing. his testimonies and that seek him with a whole heart. They also do no iniquity. They walk in his way. Amen. Everyone hates Zionists now, as the Jesuits are now stepping forward as the Christian perspective. Just think of it. It's weird. They're all using it to make themselves look legit. Yeah, dude, that's an interesting thing too. And so I really didn't recognize it as much. I've been searching matters out since 2006 when I found out the truth about the three towers. And um, one of the things that I saw as a common theme, which really twisted my gut over it, was that they were blaming the the J words. They were blaming the J words. And I knew that those small hats are not what we see in the scriptures as Jews. I mean, they just don't even have the melanin levels that you would need to be a descendant of Abraham, let alone the Bible says that the Jew is one inwardly. And there was other problems I had with it. And it's like, wait a minute. It looks to me like there is a movement to create a hatred toward the J people. And as I search deeper into it, I find out that those J people are the ones that call themselves J people are not the J people. They are actually the synagogue of Satan. And Jesus even spoke of those that say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. Yeah, it doesn't matter. I'm already freaking pulled out of the algorithms. 3 people in here? Come on. I'm gone. I'm out of the algorithms. And that's, I literally, my other channel is under duress and they just completely shadow banned my channel again. They had me shadow banned for 3 months because I spoke of what they call medical misinformation to try to help people and warn people. And then now I think it's because of this April 1st launch, but you know, they know that I'm the account holder of both channels, so still smoke myself. You smoke yourself? Man, they tried to smoke me in the military, man. They couldn't, dude. They couldn't smoke me. They tried and they tried, but they couldn't smoke me. I remember one time I was in one of the best shapes of my life. I think the best shape of my life I was at 43 years old. But I went into the military at like 23 years old, 20, almost 24. And I'd already been out on my own since I was 17, raised on the street since I was 13. So I wasn't like the vast majority of people that come in, but I knew what to look for because all of my friends were older and many of them had already served. In fact, a couple of my really good friends were Vietnam vets. And they told me what to expect, and so I started running. Like 2 months before I entered, I started running. I was always working out. I was always training, doing push-ups. I started doing more push-ups. By the time I got into the Army, I was doing like 80 to 90 push-ups straight. And of course, you know, most everybody else, 20 of them or 25 was like torture to them. And I'm like, yeah, I'll do 25 one-handed push-ups. Come on. And, you know, it did increase my physical fitness level when I went in, but it wasn't like they never beat me down, you know, never completely smoked me. There was one guy that hated me because he wanted to. He took me out in the rain during basic training, took me out in the rain in the sand pit to try to smoke me in the sand. And of course, when you're in the sand, you got the rain, and there's rashes that are, you know, showing up after 20 minutes of freaking working out in it. It's like, you know, you just put that out of your mind. And that's the one thing I had already learned because I've been working out for years before that was it's a mind thing. You just set your mind over your body. And he tired himself out giving me orders, trying to get me to quit, trying to get me to be exhausted. He could never exhaust me. And I got the all-time world record of the um, obstacle course in Fort Sill. That was kind of a cool thing for me, you know. And think not to say within yourselves, we have Abraham to our father. For I say unto you that God is able of these stones to raise up children unto Abraham. 1230. 1230. Yep. I remember one time there was this big net. It was one obstacle course that we had to go through, and this one drill sergeant, he was afraid of heights, and uh, he was told to sit at the top of the 60-foot tall net that everybody had to climb. And he's up at the top of this, and it's built out of telephone poles. And the very top beam across was this huge telephone pole, and the net was attached to that, and everybody's climbing the nets. And he calls me out, you know, and he yells my name and commands me to get up here and give him 200 because he knew I could do a lot of push-ups. And by that time, it was an AIT. It wasn't in basic anymore. I think it was AIT. Yeah, it was AIT. And I said, "Yes, sir, drill sergeant." And I just ran up the net. And I've climbing ladders my whole life already by then, so a net and all of my agility, it was no problem. I climbed up the net and passed everybody up. Got to the top, and I'm holding on to the pole, and I start pumping out push-ups. And this guy was scared for me. He was afraid I was going to fall. And I work with heights, so it didn't. I wasn't afraid. And he goes, "Get down from there, you crazy motherfucker." He commanded me to do 200 push-ups, and when he saw me up there in about a minute and 20 seconds starting to pump them out, he's like, "Oh." This guy's going to listen. He's going to do it. But I would have been, dude, I would have been a super soldier. I had Hawkeye 40 out of 40 on qualification day. I had high PT award, and I also smoked every day. So they give you two canteens. This is funny. They give you two canteens through basic training, and I took one of them and I dumped all the water out, and then I put talcum powder in there to dry it out, and I filled the canteen with cigarettes. And they tested you to make sure you had water by touching the bottom of your canteen, and if it felt like it was heavy enough to have water, they were like, okay, you know. And so they every time they touched my cigarette canteen, I was nervous they'd find out, because we were in a high stress training. We weren't allowed to have smokes. But I went to the what's the name of that place, the PX. And this lady, she was really cool to me. She slid me some cigarettes secretly slid me cigarettes, packs of cigarettes, and I put them in my canteen. So I smoked daily, but I got high PT award, got the, um, won the all-time record of the obstacle course, and my point was they wanted to put me in special ops and black ops training. And one drill sergeant was on his way out after 20 years of working in black ops, retiring. He called me his gladiator, and he wanted me to do that. And I was like, yeah, I was 100% for it. But the problem is, I was in high stress training in basic, and when the most sleep we got in one night, I think, was 5 hours through the whole training. The least amount of sleep we got was 20 minutes, like literally 20 minutes after a full day's work. They woke us up banging trash can lids together and yelling and screaming, and we had 3 minutes to get out on the tarmac in full battle gear and ready for a march. And they put us on a 20, I think it was a 24-mile march, but it was a big march. And that ended up breaking my foot too, because for 2 miles of it they had us running, which was illegal. They shouldn't have done that, but they do that where they put you in combat boots with full ruck gear and a weapon, and you're supposed to um, you're not they're not supposed to run you on concrete or at blacktop is what we were on, because the impact of all that weight with every step will cause damage to the body with the um, if you don't have, if you're wearing combat boots, it's just too hard. And it broke my toe, and I got problems the rest of my life over it. But I can't run. That's one thing about me. I can't run after that, um, because it literally broke my the one of the, what do they call that, tarsal bones at the base of the big toe. It just broke it in half, split it in half. I got an X-ray and they wanted to do surgery. I'm like, nope, I'll just let it heal the way it is, and I'm glad I did. My cousin had the exact same break because they did the exact same thing to her, and she went in for surgery. There's complications, and now she's disabled for the rest of her life because she went through their surgeries. Ironically, still friends with my recruiter. No shit. Oh, had a few cigarettes mashed in the emergency exit sign. They never noticed. Yeah. Yeah, there were some good times, man. And then I was actually oh, so my drill sergeant wanted to get me into black ops training, and I was 100% for it. I believed that the United States military was a noble thing. I believed that I would be fighting for freedom and fighting for this nation, and for once in my life, doing something good for the benefit of my countrymen. I mean, that was my mindset. I would have been a super soldier, and very obedient to do whatever they commanded me to do. And he really enticed me with a lot of his stories from his missions that he was able to speak about. And it was luring to me. But my point, I was saying, we didn't get much sleep through high stress training. We had real high stress training. I mean, but uh, we were pretty tight with our discipline compared to all the other platoons too. But the average amount of sleep we got was probably about 3.5 to 4 hours every night. Sleep deprivation is important for them to successfully brainwash the troops. And one of the things he told me about special ops sniper training, specifically when you go through the sniper training, he said that you're gonna go. It was a long time. I think he said that 2 weeks of it, the most sleep you're gonna get through all 2 weeks is 6 hours. Like, they're gonna really deprive you of sleep like you've never been deprived of sleep before. And he told me that at the end of basic training when I had just come out and I was dying for sleep. Like, we hadn't quite graduated yet. We were just a couple days away, and that's why he was telling me he wanted to recruit me so they could change my orders for AIT. And as soon as he said that, I was like, you know what? I love our country. I want to serve. It sounds like a great future and a great career to be able to do all that. But right now, 8 hours of sleep sounds to me like something I would want more than all that. And that's for real the reason I didn't go. Um, which is really interesting because if I would have chose to do that, it would have changed the entire course of my life. But because I chose to stick with the original AIT, which was Field Artillery Surveyor, 82 Charlie, um, my security clearance was being held in the Oklahoma City building, the Federal Murrah building. And after AIT, it was April 17th. And this is an occult's day, too. Occultists do a lot of things on April 17th. Um, April 17th, 1995. Boom. the building blew up and my security clearance paperwork was being held in there. And they could not put me onto my first duty station, which would have been in Germany. But if I would have gone into black ops training, my security clearance would have been moved, and I wouldn't have, and that wouldn't have stopped me. It's very interesting how just little things, well, not little things, but how one event can change the entire course of your life. And I have to recognize that the Lord God is in control of the outcome of everything in this world. You know, he gives unto man a power over this world and authority, and he literally has given dominion unto man. Man makes decisions and does things, and as a consequence, the Lord delivers whatever the consequences need to be. And the scripture says that men cast lots, but the lot is of the Lord. And a man will devise in his heart the way he should go, but the Lord, uh, I think it says directs his steps. But that might not be the wording. But man deviseth in his heart the way he should go, but the outcome is of the Lord. But I think it says the Lord directs his steps, but I'm not sure. But the Lord is the one that, you know, and there's another thing too. A lot of people, modern day Christians, don't want to believe that God creates evil. God doesn't create sin, but he creates evil. In Isaiah 45, he clearly states, I am the Lord, there is none other beside me. I create the evil. You know, and people are like, whoa, wait a minute. God creates evil. Yes, he does. He's not the author of sin. But he is the only creator that creates the consequences that sin demands. You know, and that's what it is. But people don't want to recognize that. Yeah, dude. I would definitely highly recommend that you capitalize the name God, the name of God. I mean, you would do that with anybody's name, and then when you're talking about the Lord, you should definitely capitalize that. His name is holy. His name is far, far separate from the name of any other living thing that's ever been. Let's see, I know I missed something. Sniper schools, I heard, really sucked. That's what I heard. My buddy admitted to hot sauce in the eyes to stay awake. Years later, I still only sleep a few hours and wide awake. Yeah, dude. Yeah. Oh. Yeah, I would definitely recommend being a little more cautious with even mentioning God, just because it's not he's not something common like among men. He is the Lord. That reminds me of a song I wrote. Like to hear it? Here it goes. Well, not quite that quick, but I recently heard of a 440 hertz conspiracy theory that we've been inundated with propaganda all our lives, and that John D. Rockefeller invested a lot of money into making sure that 440 hertz was a hertz frequency that remained the standard in the music. All right, let's see if I can find this. I got a tuner on my other phone. I gotta see if I can't get this thing tuned to 432, which is a resonant frequency with our bodies. But I gotta put this up somewhere where I can actually see it. Oh, here we go. Squirrels. Yeah, it's out of tune. pull strings, so you'll have to bear with me. I need to shut down this app. Looks like I lost my audience. My audience is gone. I was gonna sing a song. The Lord is holy. Let the redeemed of the Lord say so. Lift up holy hands unto the Lord. Lift up thy voice unto the Lord. Highest praise, I lift my hands up to you, 'cause I am forgiven. I lift my hands up to you, and I offer everything. I lift my voice up to you, because you have redeemed me. You are the praise. You, Lord, are righteous. his praise. To thee I sing, and my hands to you, Lord. I lift my voice up to you, and my prayer is ever before you. So you notice a very slight difference between the 440 hertz and the 432. The 440 hertz is dissonant to the resonation, dissonant to the frequencies in nature, found in nature, found in the earth's frequencies, the frequencies of living things, and the frequencies of the bodies of man and the spirits of man. And 432 is resonant with those. And there's a lot of studies that have been done in frequencies, and it's just kind of curious to me that why John D. Rockefeller would invest his money into ensuring that the standard frequency is dissonant with the spirit of man rather than resonant. But I try not to be much of a conspiracy theorist. I try to analyze them rather than theorize. Old Soul Adventures. Welcome, Old Soul Adventures. That's something I used to say of myself, that I had an old soul from the time I was young. It's kind of like a new age philosophy, I guess. But I always sought the wisdom of the elders throughout my whole life. I mean, I had friends that were my age, but the people I loved to spend the most time with were the people that were older than me, that had already lived a good portion of their life where they had wisdom to share. And I loved to listen to learning the lessons of the aged. And that was one of the things that I attributed to me having an old soul, because I just liked older people. And I'll tell you now, I'm kind of an older man, and I enjoy imparting my knowledge and wisdom on the younger people. When the opportunities arise. I haven't played that song in a while. Boy, that was chopped up. So you get to be part of my practice here anyway. At least I'm not completely shadow banned on this channel. Today's the first rain-free day we have. It's overcast, which is really the best time to bring out a solid wood guitar. This is a really nice, expensive Yamaha that I got a killer deal on years ago. Keep it in the case. Still has a plastic covering for the pick guard. I looked it up and I found out that Pink Floyd actually used to play in 432, which I didn't know that until just last night. I went to a Pink Floyd show in Detroit, Michigan one time. This is when they were doing the laser light show. Roger Waters. I don't remember what the deal was with Roger Waters, but he had split off from Pink Floyd. What was kind of cool with the laser light show, and I was using a little bit of this recreational thing that they starts with an L and ends with an SD. And it left quite an impact on my life for the rest of my life. Even today, I remember it, and they had these lasers shooting across the entire crowd. And when they played that song, with every single pick of the string, the lasers were lining up with the 6 strings of the guitar, and they would vibrate with down, boom, 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 individually, and it left an impact. Let me put it that way. Awesome song and timing. Love you, brother. I love you too, man. I really do. I appreciate all you do for the Lord and disseminating the truth and exposing the lies. It's a hard world we're fighting, dude, and people really people don't have love for the truth. They have a love for knowledge, but it's not always good knowledge or true knowledge. And people want to find these secret things. And it's like, you want to find the secret things? Check the Word. Check the Lord. Seek the Lord. He's got some secret things to share with his people. You know, he's got mysteries in his word that he loves to reveal unto his children. And it's always, always a great edification to find another brother like you, Sean. You know, that you spent the time. You have searched the matters out. You have sought the Lord with your heart. You have cried unto the Lord. You have brought yourself humbly before him because you wouldn't come to the knowledge and the maturity in Christ that you have attained unless it had been for him working in you. And he doesn't work in people that are prideful. He works among the humble, those that are humble before him, those that weep and sigh and cry over the sins of this our own selves and the sins of the world. And so many people in churchianity are so prideful, they just refuse correction, they refuse reproof, they refuse instruction, they refuse knowledge. And then there are some that just want to turn the scriptures into a metaphor away from what the scriptures actually say. But God is going to be glorified in all things, even them. I just saw the United States postal worker driving by. Oh, thank you. I don't really know what to sing. So a lot of the songs that I have done, that I've created or made, I don't like the word create because there's only one creator. A lot of the songs that I've produced are holy songs. They're separated. They're set apart for the Lord. And YouTube public platform is not a place for me to play those. There are some that I'm kind of, it's like, they're intimate songs that I will play only before the saints because they're the songs of Zion. They are the songs of Zion, the heavenly Jerusalem. And, we're in a strange land. And Psalms 137, I think, is where the psalmist said, actually read it. I'm going to read this because it's kind of pertinent. I used to be deceived, and I was in churchianity for years, and I was they like to call him a worship leader, but I was a praise leader, and was in the both secular and Christian music industries, and they're both controlled by the same Satanists at the top, but the modern churchianity system is based off of the Babylonian system of religion. And the Vatican City is the mother of harlots. And all of her daughters are these places, these buildings and organizations that call themselves church. But it says in Psalms 137, by the rivers of Babylon, there we sat, yea, we wept when we remembered Zion. We hanged our harps on the willows in the midst thereof. For there they that carried us away captive required of us a song, and they that wasted us required of us mirth, saying, sing us one of the songs of Zion. How shall we sing the Lord's song in a strange land? If I forget thee, O Jerusalem, let my right hand forget her cunning. If I remember not thee above my chief joy. No, if I remember not thee, let my tongue cleave to the roof of my mouth. If I prefer not Jerusalem above my chief joy. Remember, O Lord, the children of Edom in the day of Jerusalem, who said, raise it, raise it. The word raise is R-A-S-E. It means bring it down. It's R-A-S-E, not R-A-I-S-E. Raise it to bring it down to the ground. They said, raise it, even to the foundation. Bring it down to the foundation. the children of Edom. Remember, O Lord, the children of Edom in the day of Jerusalem, who said, raise it, even to the foundation. O daughter of Babylon, who art to be destroyed, happy shall he be that rewardeth thee as thou hast served us. Happy shall he be that taketh and dasheth thy little ones against the stones. Boy, oh boy, I wonder if the algorithms got that one too. The psalmist, by the Spirit of the Lord, is singing a song of the joy, of the happiness that is going to overcome the one that takes the little ones of Babylon and dashes them against the stones. But that's not that God is love of churchianity, is it? God is love. He is love, but his love isn't feel good, fluffy, touch your heart, make your heart go all like gelatin and be like, oh. It's not some kind of romantic love affair like churchianity and the music industry wants people to believe. It's God's love is just. His love is bloody. His love is bloody. He showed the greatest love ever. He put himself on the cross so that his blood would be shed to satisfy the demand that our sin has for death and judgment and justice. He is righteous. I don't espouse myself to be. I put on the uniform. I did not serve throughout my entire time. I have what's called an other than honorable discharge because I ran into an issue. Like I got not advice from a JAG officer because my security clearance was being held. My security clearance paperwork had gone up in the explosion of the Federal Mirror building, and I went through basic and AIT, and then basically served as a security holdover until I decided I was done, and I went AWOL, turned myself in 30 days later, and out processed with the option to come back in. It wasn't dishonorable, but it wasn't honorable, and I'm actually very thankful that it worked out the way that it did because my life would have been on a completely different course, and I probably might have not come out of that patriotism and nationalism, which is idolatry, and I probably would have been doing some evil things thinking I was doing good. When I'm driving, I come to a bend in the road. I see a yellow sign, it means slow. I let off the gas, sometimes I hit my brake. Don't want to make a fatal mistake. I'm a speed limit driver. I'm a speed limit driver, yeah. Light turns yellow, I stop if I can. God's calling me to be a law-abiding man. Oh, I don't get it. Wild people riding me. I drive as fast as I can legally, 'cause I'm a speed limit driver, yeah. I see construction and I do 45. It's not worth the speed if you take somebody's life, no. When in the school zone I step on my brake. somebody's child's life, maybe it's strange. I'm a speed limit driver. I'm not the only one that does 10 in a 10. Everyone behind me and they're waving their hands, yeah. They're telling me I'm number one in their eyes. Here's words of wisdom, 55 saves lives, oh, yeah. I wouldn't call that a song of Zion, but it's kind of fun. I am a speed limit driver, that's why I wrote that song. That one didn't really go over very well when I was playing that in the concerts, because most people don't drive the speed limit. Most people really kind of hate the guy that does. I'm not the only one that does 10 into 10. Everyone behind me. I wrote that verse based on an actual incident I had where the speed limit was set at 10 miles an hour. Way out in the country in a small town. They had just done construction. They had the road painted. All of the caution cones were gone. The road should have been open, but they still had the speed limit sign that said 10 miles an hour. And I was doing 10 miles an hour, and this car came up on me, and they were angry because it was a no passing zone. And my thought is, listen, if you're going to break the speed limits anyway, then why is it that the no passing zone is going to stop you? Just go around me. You know, I mean, you're going to violate the speed limit, then violate the no passing zone too, and just go around me. But nope, they stood out there and they honked their horn and they told me I was number one. And so I said in the song, I'm not the only one that does 10 into 10. and ever since then, I got a friend of mine that's a truck driver. He loves that part. He says that's one of his favorite lyrics of any song he's ever heard. I'm not the only one that does 10 into 10. Everyone behind me, and they're waving their hands. But I was talking to him a couple months ago. I was coming back from a job, and I told him, I said, dude, this morning I saw at least 30 people that were doing the speed limit. And it took him a second to think about it. He's like, oh, they were all behind you, weren't they? Yep. I was bringing a train of them. They were all commuting, wanting to get back home and in a hurry. All right. Take a moment out. Set the guitar down and let's see what we got here. We got a whole bunch of firewood. This is actually one of my smaller piles. And this is logs that I still have yet to split from the tornado. And this is another one of my smaller piles. And that's one of my tools for splitting wood. That's my favorite one so far. And yeah, that's a tree I dropped today. Or I should say this last winter. Or this year actually. And so it is, that boot is like 14 inches long. And that's 28 inches. And so another 12 inches. So yeah, it's a 40-inch stump. We don't get a lot of trees that big around here. And yeah, that's my guitar case. I actually brought the guitar out long enough to get to be to acclimate to the temperatures and the humidity before I tuned it up, so that it didn't go out of tune right away. So this is wild leeks. I don't know if anyone knows what wild leeks are. They're also called ramps, but these are delicious. I transplanted them into my woods from another place, and this is the first year I actually picked some bulbs. I prefer the bulbs over the leaves, but the leaves are good. If you go for wild leeks, you can cut the leaves off. There's 3 different flavor and texture profiles for these wild leeks. The green part of the leaf, let's see if I can, I'm going to see if I can dig up one of these roots without damaging the whole thing. Man, these things are good. I'm going to bring this thing in since I'm taking it apart. Cool. Got it. All right, here we go. So, I'm going to show you the flavor profiles here. I don't know if anybody does any foraging, but these things are a really delicious thing to forage, and they're healthy for you, nutritious. So when I cut these up, when I process them, I cut off the top, the green only, and then I cut off the white and the pink. So you got 3 different sections. You got the green, then you got the stem, and then you got the root. And these roots, the white are my favorite, the white part. I cut it off there, and I use that white. I'll cook that in butter and mix it in with beef and mix it in with rice, all sorts of foods. And the green, you can eat that raw, or you can mix that in with a soup or whatever. In the red, you can do the same, but they all have a different flavor profile, each section. So it's kind of one of the cool things about them. I don't know what these little flowers are, but they're kind of cool. It's springtime. And I got reports that we're already getting morels, which are a very delectable mushroom. I got to go pick some stinging nettle here pretty soon before turkey season comes in. The place I go for stinging nettle has turkey hunters. And I just don't like even messing around in the woods. I can legally go in there during turkey season, but I'm a hunter myself, and it's public land, and I understand how somebody walking through the woods foraging can disrupt their hunt, and I don't want to do that to another. Jesus said, as you would have men do unto you, so do likewise also unto them. And if I was out there turkey hunting and some guy starts walking through the area that I'm like set up at trying to kill turkeys, I'm going to be kind of not very happy. Let's see what else I can find out. I'm going to have to get some work done here soon. I got lots of wood to split. Lots of wood. Lots of wood. And there's my wild leeks, also called ramps. This is a small juniper tree. And what I found is when I take these and I transplant them from the woods out in the open area, they grow very, very well. Healthy. And there's some wild strawberries. We got some, I think they're called wood or forest strawberries. And they're really sweet and delicious. This is what's left of my seasoned wood from this year, which I'll have some left over from next year. I got these big piles that I've been working on this winter. Actually, yeah, late winter, spring I got a pile there that I think that one is 37 feet long, 4 feet tall, and about 12 feet wide. And this one's 4 feet tall, about 12 feet wide, and it goes back just over 30 feet. And then I got this pile here, which is about 5 feet tall. I'm gonna rearrange it. 4 feet is the height that my tarps will fit over real well and still seal it up, as if that matters. And yeah, all in all, I think I've got, here's some knotty wood that was giving me problems with a split maul. And I just said, you know what, I'm gonna go at it again with the maul before I bring the chainsaw out here, I think. There's another juniper bush. They don't grow the greatest. They do, they grow. I got this tarp here I gotta get rid of. A whole bunch of trees I cut down this year. There's one of the stumps. I had 18 trees I cut down in my woods, and I've got less than 2 acres. Signs of spring all around. Oh, beautiful. Some old Trimedes versicolor. That's from last fall. That's also known, the common name is turkey tail. There's another one. There's a few over there, I think. That was one of the bigger stumps I cut up. Keep losing. We got ticks like crazy this year. I was out here yesterday doing some work and ticks just jumped on me right away. I got a stump here, stump there, stump there. Let's see what kind of mushrooms will start to grow on these stumps. Yeah, that's a huge stump. And this is a four-legged tree. It was one of the biggest trees I had on my property, and that died. And there's another stump. Probably about a 16 to 18 inch tree. And over the years, I've cut many trees down. Mature trees in the woods. Here's a nice whiteoak growing. Oh. This cherry tree's got a little bit of an abrasion going on. I wonder what did that. Could have been a buck, but usually they'll go deeper. But yeah. As a root out of dry ground. Anyone know where that saying comes from? As a root out of dry ground. I don't know if I can find any of that stuff around here. We got sandy soil. Yeah. It's been a lot of work splitting all that wood. But now I got enough wood to last me probably about 5 years. At least 4 years. Oh, garlic mustard. Yum. It's not garlic and it's not mustard, but it tastes like garlic. It has a really good, strong garlicky flavor. Yum. Looks like nobody's around. It says there's 8, but that could be YouTube's lies. Oh well. And now's the time to start. Oh, I got dandelions growing already. Wow. Get dandelion flowers. Huh. A lot of people don't know, but these dandelion flowers are really good for eating. Now, all the greenery on the dandelion is it's got a lot of tannins in it, and they're tart. They're really good for you. They're good for your digestion. But if you separate, I'm going to have to take this over here and put this in the tripod. If you separate the yellow from the green, the yellow part of the flower without any green on there is very sweet and doesn't have any tartness to it, and it's not bitter, but it's really delicious. And that's what people make dandelion honey from. And so you pretty much have to peel all that green off if you're going to make dandelion wine or dandelion honey, dandelion jam. People make dandelion jelly. Get as much of that green as you can off so it's all yellow. And then there's no bitterness to it. I don't mind the bitterness so much though, but some people do. Let's see, yeah, probably do a little log splitting, I guess. All right, that is gonna be, I'm looking at trying to figure out how I'm gonna get this thing set up. There we go. And we'll go ahead and drop that. And we'll go ahead and drop that. Alright, I think, is that gonna work? Probably. Oh, hi, do you have scissors? I do have scissors. Not with me. Not on my person. I don't know if I want to do that. What do I want to do on my let's see. I'm messing with my tripod right now. That'd probably be good. Let's see, if I point to there, I'm pointing at the guitar case. Yeah, it's gonna be my little sitting stool. Yeah, little table. So I got a log to sit on and a little table. Bring my water and my filtered water. I filter my water through coffee beans. My wild leek ramps, they call them. Huh. Here's another really cool plant that grows this time of year. It's called mother's wort is the common name for it. There's a lot of compounds in there that are really good for women that are breastfeeding and women that are menstruating. It relieves their cramps and helps regulate their cycle, and it helps with milk production for women that breastfeed. It's also high in vitamin C. It's good for men too, but it's called mother's wort because it's been discovered to be very beneficial for the mother. What do we got here? There's a problem with the barber. Oh, yeah, I don't have a barber. What are you talking about? Yeah, I don't need a barber. I don't think there's any problem. I mean, is there too much excellence radiating from the image? I mean, onto your screen? I mean, what's the problem? You know, we have names for people with no beards. We call them women and children. I'll be back. Do we get anything else? Anyone say anything else? Nope, nope, that's it. Yes. Oh, got a knot in there. Fun. This one is a big knot here. Okay. big knot. Yeah, this is where it gets fun. Not fun. I'll try for one more. Okay. Kind of looks like a foot. Just some knotty wood. Oh, message retracted. I've done that before. Ooh, plantain. Plantago major's up. Here's another one. What is it called again? Millefolium? Something millefolium. It's also known as yarrow. Something millefolium. And milli meaning thousands. Folium meaning leaves. And this stuff is high in vitamin C. It's astringent. You can use it for what's the word? Wounds. Very good. It's good to learn the things in nature that are beneficial to our survival. You know, especially with the way that the world is headed. There are people that have control and power over industries that have created a dependence upon the people to have a dependence upon their industries that they control. And there's coming a time when people are going to have to trust their lives to the system or trust their lives unto God and learn of the things that God has made in the earth for us. And make no mistake about it, everyone whose names are not written in the Lamb's Book of Life are going to trust their lives to this system that's coming up. Everyone, even these people that claim they won't. I won't get the mark. Well, you might not get the microchip in your right hand or your forehead, but you're going to get the name or the number. Multitasking today for sure. Oh yeah, man. I'm doing a whole variety of stuff. Yeah, dude, I got to get all that wood split. It's ridiculous. We had, well, we had those tornadoes that came through, and I was cutting for 6 days, and out of 6 days, I think I got 4 days worth of wood that I hauled home just to get it out of people's ways, and I got firewood that'll last me 4 years. Yeah, I'm doing a little bit of everything, man. Playing guitar, foraging, splitting firewood. I'm glad I'm able to. 55 years old, and I still got the strength of my youth. Although I'm not as strong or as in shape as I was when I was 43 to 47 years old. Those were probably the top 4 years of my fitness level in my entire life. I'm only 5'8", 5'7.5", but you know how us short people round up. 5'8", and I blame it on once I shaved my head, I dropped down to 5'7.5". But anyway, I'm 5'7.5". My whole life I've weighed right around 160 pounds since I, filled out to my adult size. But I've always been into fitness and strength training, And when I was 43 years old, I hit my PR with squats at, wait, was it 43? 44. Wait, 40, yeah. 44. Hold on a second. It was 2013 was when I got injured. 2014 was when I was working out. So it would have been 45 years old. Oh, yeah, 45 years old when I was squatting 565 pounds 8 times on my back. And I was doing like a box squat. I wasn't going down below but I was keeping um, my femur parallel to the ground instead of dropping it below. But that's a lot of weight. Deadlifting 500 pounds. My bench press has always been my weakest at 305. But yeah, I was thanking God this morning that I still have a lot of strength of my youth. I mean, I'm not where I was, but I haven't exercised and worked it out like I used to. But I got all sorts of I got 2 squat racks and cages and cables, and I got 5 Olympic bars, Olympic barbells, and I think 5, maybe 5 curl bars, and you got a couple thousand, well, yeah, about a couple thousand pounds of weight. And bands and dumbbells and benches, and I got my own little, but I've never been a gym rat. I've never liked to go out to the gym. I always like to, work out here at the house, sometimes with people, but it's hard to find people, especially in the country, that want to put any kind of a schedule together to work out. Well, guess that means you're not a Nephilim. Yeah. Dude, what are you talking about, man? I'm the shortest giant in history. I'm the shortest giant in history. Or the tallest midget in history. One of the two. I'm not sure yet. Oh, need one of them log splitters, dude. Those things are fucking. They kill your back, man. No, I've had horizontal log splitters, and I work faster than any horizontal log splitter. Vertical, except for the inertia ones, the inertia ones, but they won't go through big knots. Like a lot of the wood I got here, those inertia ones won't work through. This is oak, and this is knotty oak. Those inertia ones are really good if you've got straight, clean logs. They'll outwork me. But the only log splitter I found that'll go through and outwork me on this wood is the vertical ones, but they have to have a faster moving arm, and they got to be like 30 tons or more. The 32 ton, I think, is what Husky was making. That was the one that I found that was able to produce more firewood than I could with my maul. And why spend $3,500 for a log splitter when you can buy a really good splitting maul for $40 and just, get the exercise that you're not going to get with the log splitter. And then you don't have to pay for the fuel and all that. I just, and I gotta keep my body moving. My sons like to come out and split wood too. My youngest son, he's more into fitness and exercise than my older one. I remember he started getting bumps, starting to build out. And he's taller than me too. He's like 5'10" and a half, I think. And he was all proud last year. We were working on doing some, I think it was hauling branches, and he takes his shirt off. I'm like, dude, don't take your shirt off when you're hauling branches, man. You're gonna get all scraped up. And then he realized he was getting all scraped up. So then he put his shirt on. And he started rolling his sleeves up to show his muscles, because he wants his dad to see it. I get it. There's a certain amount of pride that comes with it. He put a lot of hard work into it. He goes to the gym like 5-6 times a week. But I roll up my sleeves and showed him my bumps. I says, yeah, are we showing each other's bumps today? And then I kind of put him down into this slumped over position, like, yeah, because he's not as big as I am or strong as I am yet. But I took him into the gym and did a PR. Before, it was like 3 weeks ago. Before then, the most he ever deadlifted was 325, And I put 320. I worked him up. We did like a couple of lightweight sets to get all of his muscles firing and get everything ready to go to the deadlift to the max. And as I was moving up the weight with him, he had 325 on and he threw it up pretty easy. I'm like, dude, I think you're getting close to 400 on your deadlift. And he was like, no way. I said, yeah. I said, here, we put on 370. And he popped it up with something remaining in the tank. So I think his PR would probably be around 380, 385 right now. But he's pushing, getting close to 400, and that's strong, Yeah. Um, was doing my workout, playing with the dog. Got to admit that I rather the oil. Oh, the old split my method myself. Just a few minutes of it, and my back is done. Yeah, dude. Yeah, yeah. I know, man. I know that sucks. That really sucks. You know, and plus you're getting over hernia. That's actually one of the things that caused me to back off on working out was I started getting a uh, I forgot what they call it, but it's right by your testicle, an area that men have open because the testicles drop and women don't have an opening there and men are more prone. But I felt this tearing going on there, and so I backed off with a heavy weight. And it kind of sucks because my deadlift was 500 and now it's probably right around 400, and I haven't done a PR, but I don't even want to push the limits on it because I don't want to cause any further tear, and I just want to keep getting a lot of collagen, omega 3s, and bromelain and papain into my system to strengthen that area, to strengthen all the soft tissue and tendons and everything, and protein, a lot of protein, to be able to build up. The God designed our bodies to repair. We just have to have the right nutrients in them. And unfortunately, allopathic medical priests of Hermes uh, are not taught much in nutrition in medical school. They're taught toxicology and chemistry and um, pharmacology and what drugs can go with what people and what drugs can't go with other drugs and it's like, yeah, that's not how health works. It's not. Our discs are made of the same material that are the lining of our uh, intestinal wall is, and it's a high collagen material, and vitamin C is really beneficial. But when we get a bulge in our disc, we need to take a break, keep getting blood flow to that area with mild exercise to get blood flow to the area and get lots of collagen and lots of bromelain and omega 3 and 6 is balanced into our system. And psyllium is really good too. It gives all of the body, it gives the body the nutrients to be able to replenish and repair the areas that are damaged. And vitamin C, I think, is probably one of the best things for that I found because I had herniated discs before and they hadn't ruptured, and that's a difference. If your discs are ruptured, they may need surgery, or whatever. But if they're herniated, they can be um, fixed through nutrition and stretching it out. What do they call those machines where you can hang upside down with your feet, where it allows your body weight to extend and kind of pull your vertebrae apart. Those are really good as long as you can get some good nutrients in you and blood flow during that time where it's pulling apart and stretching. The nutrients are allowed to flow a little more efficiently through the area. And you can even just grab a bar and hang if you've got enough grip strength. But most people's upper body is heavier, so if you hang upside down, you might have a little more stretch or pull, but you could put ankle weights on and hang down. You could put a dog leash. So here's an interesting thing that I learned from Jeff at athleanx.com. Athlean X YouTube channel, is you can take a dog leash, and you know how you got the loop on one end and you got the clasp on the other? It's got to be a 6 foot. 6 foot is important. A 6 foot dog leash. You can wrap it around your waist, you know, from the back around the front, and then loop the dog leash through a weight, 25 pound, 35 pounds, something. And then it will hang naturally off of your waist. And then if you hang from a bar, you're creating a lot more tension and force to pull apart those vertebrae. But max dosing vitamin C is a huge thing to help, man. Not only is it anti-inflammatory through the whole body, it takes a good day or two to start to feel the difference as far as the pain being released from the pressure of inflammation. But max dosing, you're a big guy. You're like, what, 6'1" or something? I know you're big. And maybe 230 pounds. Well, you're probably going to need at least, at minimum, 5,500 milligrams of vitamin C each day. And that would be a good thing to start off with, 5,500 each day for 3 days. If you don't have diarrhea, go up, 250 or 300 milligrams. And do that for 3 days, and just keep increasing it every 3 days until you start getting wet farts. And that's what max dosing is. Your body will absorb all the vitamin C until it's maxed out, and then it'll start flushing it through diarrhea. And so once you get to the sharts, then you back it off one of those levels, 250 milligrams or something. And you, whatever that number is, and for you it could be 8,500, who knows, but wherever that level is, if you maintain that for 30 days, it will help to regenerate all the cells of your entire body. It's really, Linus Pauling won the Nobel Prize for his discovery on the benefits to the body of max dosing vitamin C. Pretty cool stuff. Yeah, decompression, spinal decompression. That's what it's called. I knew there was some kind of technological, scientific term or something about it, but yeah, that's what it is, spinal decompression. I don't even know what, yeah, it says there's 3 people in here. That's kind of funny. How long have I been on? I've been on for almost 2 hours. I know I got to get this work done, but it's kind of cool to, there's some people in here. Oh, you just subbed? Why? Yeah, invert machine. Inversion machine. Yeah, that's what it is. Or an inversion table. As far as pain goes, the war on drugs is a monopoly on medicine. It has nothing to do with any kind of moral thing where, the politicians have your best interest in mind. Don't ever get that wrong, because they don't. But it is a monopoly on medicine. Unfortunately, you're going to have people that just want to escape reality and use medicines and different beneficial herbs and compounds for recreational purposes, and because they have psychoactive effects. And people are going to do that, whatever. That's part of part of life. But yeah, the last time I talked about this, YouTube, Google started giving me all kinds of ads before videos, and all kinds of ads over the internet on me about, oh, are you struggling with opioid addiction? And I'm like, yeah, no, thank you. I think in my entire life, I've probably only had opioids twice that I'm aware of, and they were prescribed, but I'd much rather find them naturally. I'd much rather have the natural form than a prescription synthetic, patented thing that causes all kinds of side effects. You go to a dentist and they give you Novocaine, lidocaine. What's the other one? Novocaine, lidocaine, and something cane, but they're all derivatives of cocaine. But if you were free, you would be able to grow the cocaine plant in your yard, and you would be able to make your own medicine, your own pain relieving medicine for emergency situations. I think marijuana is way overused, um, but it has its benefits, you know, and those benefits are psychoactive as well. But people they want to find an escape from this world, and that's not what it should be used for. The sativa does help a person to focus. The indica helps a person to sleep. And it has a bunch of other things that it does to the body. And God made us with THC receptors, so there's a purpose for that. That it doesn't affect every living thing. It only affects us in a way that it doesn't affect other living things. Although I think dogs and cats have THC receptors too, which is interesting. But the Lord knows what He's done. It says God says the Lord made the grass for the ox and the herb of the field for the service of man. But I don't partake of marijuana anymore. I used to. I don't have a problem with it. I try to encourage people to not use it for recreational, or don't overuse it for recreational. Just because I don't see a medicinal benefit for that. As it's just, I think everything has a purpose, and it's good to learn what the purposes are. A lot of people like to call it the devil's lettuce. It's like, no, I didn't get it from the devil. Shoot, it's been close to 2 years since I've smoked any marijuana. I don't have any in my beard. They can take hair samples out and find out if you got it. And now in Indiana, I don't know. I think Ohio, they may have made some kind of law that allows minimal capacity use of it or whatever. But here in Indiana, it's zero tolerance. If if I go over to Illinois, which I'm right by the border of Illinois, and I'd go there legally, and I go to a friend's house and partake, and don't drive, just hang out in a private place and partake and come back after everything's wore off. I'm completely legal. I'm not under the influence when I'm driving anymore, and I get home and I just go about my day. And 3 weeks later, if I get pulled over and a police officer decides he wants to violate my rights and falsify and trump up BS to try to, they're really pushing for the DUIs on the cops to get a lot of money. um, they can falsify information, which they do all the time. They lie on reports, they lie in the court systems under oath, they lie to your face, and the Supreme Court has said it's okay for them. They're liars, dude. They're fucking liars. And yeah, and so they can just trump up some BS to uh, have what they call reasonable articulable suspicion to get a judge to sign a warrant in 5 minutes on the electronic thing, and then draw your blood. And if they find THC in your system, which it could still be, then you get charged with driving under the influence, and they take your license for a year, even though everything that you did was legal. Tell me that's freedom. Freedom! Freedom! So, and that's basically the reason I don't mess with it. I partook once in a while, and it wasn't an everyday thing, and it wasn't something that I wanted to escape. I never wanted to be out of um, I never wanted to lose control of my mental faculties, which is easy to do if you consume too much. you know, but everything's got a purpose. There was a point I was making about that. I went down there, and now I'm still going to start getting those ads again. Thanks, Google. Google. So, you know what's really interesting that I've seen people do in recent times, and it's even worse with the AI being advanced the way that it is there are people that will be thinking about things or maybe even saying things um, that they're inquisitive about, or you know, maybe they've got a problem that they're seeking an answer for, and then all of a sudden something will show up on their digital feed and they'll think it's a sign from God. I've heard people say that before. It must be a sign from God because I was literally just thinking about my neuropathy, and then all of a sudden, you know, these things are coming up about neuropathy. And it's like, no, that's not God. That is the God of this world. That is his Internet of Things. It's uh, not only picking up environmental data that we can see and hear and everything else, but it picks up other frequencies. They've worked on this technology for a very long time. You didn't They're not rolling it out as they discover it. They discover it, they work with it, and then they get it fine-tuned, and then they roll it out. That's how that works. That's a naughty log. Oh boy. That's going to be a fun one. That might not come apart. And that's when the log splitter hydraulic works better. Oh, got a little taper to it. One of those, did you? know. Let's go with that one. Yeah. Naughty little wood. Huh. Yeah. Whole thing was a big knot. That's an all-nighter. Yeah, nobody's in here. Oh, chat filter. Okay, nobody in here. Huh, I guess I'm not subbed. Why would it? Oh, yeah, that's right. Somebody USA. I don't know who that is. Huh. Uh, huh. Uh, Hmm. I think this thing here. Do 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 do. Maybe. Maybe. Right there is about the middle. I guess that's what I'll do. I just had some sweat drip down onto the inside of my glasses. That obscures my view a little. And how much battery power? Ooh, wow. I'm almost out of battery power here. I'm going to have to shut it down. Yeah, it's about that time. Been live for 2.5 hours. Oh well. Peace.